Joining us. This is live with Miami's Community News, and I'm Michael Mullen. We have a special guest today, Juan Carlos Esquivel.
Thank you.
Get that good?
Yes, very well.
Okay, good.
You guys are learning how to speak Spanish.
I know. I'm going to figure it out. The other day, I asked somebody to go into our press room and bring me up 5 newspapers. They did it in Spanish. She brought me 50 bundles. Wow. So it was pretty close. So Juan Carlos, let's talk about. And you're running for council,
I'm
right?
running, yes.
December 10th is the last day to vote, all right, which is coming up.
But next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, all right?
5 days.
So people can still. Is there early voting going on?
No, there's no early voting. The absentee ballots went out on the 14th of November. You can request. You had a chance to request a mail ballot by the 28th of November. No longer. So if you have to vote and you didn't request a ballot, you have to appear in your precinct. All the 7 precincts in Doral will be open. We're one of the last 2 runoffs in the whole Miami-Dade County to close the election cycle. And this is going to be the last runoff election, because on November 5th we had amendments to the charter, and one of the questions was, do you think we should have runoff elections? And 50 plus, I think it was 56%, don't want running elections. Runoff elections are costly. They're about $58,000 because the entire system doesn't get activated like when you do a regular election. Right. A regular election, a city will pay $18,000 to $25,000. We're going to pay $58,000. So what happens? There are other alternatives. Now they say, no, but if they didn't have any runoff elections in the future like this time, you would have been out of the picture. And I said, well, we could look for other mechanism, okay, like primaries, okay, to select the 2 candidates that will be in the general election or presidential election to run for that particular seat. What happens? They put phantom candidates. They put additional candidates to fade away the votes. And really, people do not do their homework qualifying the candidate who the best candidate may be. That's basically what it is. But I'm against runoff elections. This will be my 2nd runoff election in my political career. And let me tell you, people don't go out. Only 18% of the vote.
Very small.
Very small.
Because they're only going out. There's only two people.
Two people. I mean,
and certainly at this point, I think so much of America is just so exhausted with years of this conversation. All right, but so
we've been in campaigning for the last 4 years, and you know that. Well, to tell you the truth, on 2022, when Mayor Fraga, Rafael Piñeiro, and Maureen Porras, there were 3 on a runoff election. Okay. 18% of the people voted. Yeah. So not even because you have a lot of people, just people don't know. I'm walking and I knock on doors and people don't even know that there is an election. So we have to really drag the voters out. But it is what it is. I mean, it's been written. If you receive your ballot, it takes you 2 minutes to fill it out and put it back on your mailbox.
So you're in business in Doral, all right? Yes. And tell us the type of business that you're in.
I'm in the transportation and logistic business, which is the preliminary business of Doral. That's why Doral became a big city. We are so close to the airport and so close to the Port of Miami, Port of Broward, Port Everglades. That's why you see all these logistic companies in Doral. We are a work center.
Is Doral 20 or 25 years?
21 years.
21 years, okay.
I know you interviewed and I was looking at the program. No, it's 21. We were born in 2001 so
back then,
2003.
When we were just kids, I would try to tell people where Doral was. I said, go to Palmetto to 36th Street, take a left in the middle, Ryder Truck System is there. But before you pass there, stop up at Herbett's, which was to the right, which was the place to go. All right.
Herbett's was my neighbor. It was a deli on 79th and 18th or 14th. Yep. My business, established in 1991, okay, Universal Freightways, was established on 79th and 21st Street. So we used to go to Herbett's all the time. Okay, great deli. We miss it.
We used to weigh 180 pounds, but if it was not for that, well, one of the great places, it was a place to be seen, and wonderful food, very fun memories.
Great meatloaf.
Of that.
I remember the meatloaf was excellent back then.
And let's talk about some of the priorities that you think that the citizens want, not necessarily what you want, but what do the citizens tell you when you're out knocking on doors?
Well, the main issue is the traffic and the overpopulation. I mean, the problem with the incinerator, and I don't want to get into that now. But the overpopulation, the overdevelopment that we have had in the last 21 years has gone out of hand without having the responsibility of the easements, so that we can at a point expand the roads, okay, to have all this flow of things. 82,000 people live in Doral, but we have approximately 110,000 people go in and out all the time. So we are a working center. So you cannot develop a upright city like New York, Caracas, Bogota, where you come from, even Detroit, without having a transportation system. So one of the main concerns of these people is that I'm going to have to pay a helicopter. There's a lot of developments. There's actually 4,500 units in the city being approved or disapproved, okay, to be developed right on 87, between 87th Avenue and 97th Avenue. That's a lot of people.
What street?
41st Street, Doral Boulevard, north 36th Street, 41. So 87th Avenue is a thing. No, but what they tell me is, what are you going to do about traffic? And I said, well, with the problem that the city doesn't control the streets, because some of the streets are the government of Miami-Dade County, and the avenues sometimes are state roads.
Yes.
Okay? So we have no jurisdiction in those main roads. But we definitely can control, at the time we approve a development, you got to give in some land, which is the case that is going to happen on 87th Avenue with Trump National Doral. The gentleman is asking for 1,500 units. It was approved on the first reading, okay? 1,500 luxury units. Supposedly they're temporary units. No, there's no such a thing as, nobody's going to spend $2 million in an apartment, a luxury apartment, to use it 3 months. Now, there's a company called Airbnb that will take care of your 9 months left, okay, if that's the case. I'm not against the investment. I love the investment. It's going to produce a lot of money into the city and to the county. But we have to do things in an orderly fashion.
So each apartment, if you will, has 1 to 3 people.
Yeah.
That are
2 cars.
Yeah. And it's a bunch of stuff and out on the road.
You're looking 10,000 additional cars in 87th Avenue.
Yes, and the question seems to be more about mobility, because we're still going to drive.
Definitely.
Right?
You cannot build a metro, a subway in Miami. Obviously, we're too close to the water, and then the coral, whatever, and the environmental thing. But we can do something about the trolley system. We are a brand new city. We are a young city. 21 years old. We have to change the trolley system.
The trolley system, I think, doesn't it have a huge ridership?
No. They say that 58,000 people use it a month. It must be they're laying down on the seats because a month. On the seats, because when you look at a trolley, there's only 2 or 3 people on it. I'm serious. 58,000, it doesn't click. The number don't click. But when we get there, on December 10th, I guarantee you we will look. What is my proposal? We need to replace the entire system with newer units, aerospatial units, electrical units, something that will really give us the personality that Doral really has. A young city, not San Francisco. You want the trolleys? Send them to North Miami Beach or to Miami Beach, and you know the tourism area. We are working in a city that has a lot of parks. So what do? We have to reroute, remake the routings, routes from north to south, east to west, with more frequency, smaller units, so that you incentivate people leaving their cars at home if not selling one. Let's just an example. You live in downtown Doral, which, by the way, is missing 4 towers of 20 floors, and there's 30 apartments per floor. So that's already on the taking. That's additional cars going into downtown area of the Doral area. Okay, so what happens? You take the trolley on 87th Avenue. If you want to go to International Mall, on 107th and 12th, you take the 87 to 12 and immediately connect to one that will take you to 107 and 12.
So how do we change from a private passenger mindset to public transportation? What has to happen to our...
If it works, people will use it. If it doesn't work, there's no way you and I are going to sit behind a pole without even a tent to cover your head, okay, not a bench, waiting for a bus that will take 45 minutes to get there. You got to get it at least 15 minutes in interns, okay, so that you really say, hey, I know I'm going to get this trolley or this bus. I wanted to call it DTS, Doral Transit System, which is the same. How are we going to pay for it? by all means, advertising. Okay, and the Pineapple are not the only advertisers we have. There's a lot of businesses in Doral that can promote, including Carnival Cruise Line, Royal Caribbean, a whole bunch of companies that will pay for this advertising. Lawyers,
Okay, so people are concerned about traffic and mobility and how to get around.
That's the main concern many of them have. Okay, because another thing is that their kids, because of the economy, their kids are growing and they're not moving, they're staying at home. It's not like you could kick your kid at 18 years old. Hey, come on, I already got my job done. Goodbye.
Rachel, maybe we just get the parents to move out.
Maybe that would be an option. That's a good one. But you see, they're staying at home. So that's an additional car that is not moving elsewhere in a small, Doral is a very expensive city when it becomes to rental.
Yes.
Okay.
So a couple 6 months ago, unfortunately, there was a shooting and a killing at one of the bars in one of the big shopping malls. Yeah. The city moved to reduce the number of hours that it was operational.
But then after that, they extended. They give you extended permits, and they only dropped an hour. I agree. Nobody's supposed to be. I mean, teenagers maybe. There's a pro and a con. I mean, if you don't give them enough time for them to have fun, and the kids go out at 11 o'clock at night. That's the time you and I used to return, okay? They go out at 11 o'clock at night. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, what are they going to do? You don't want to put them at risk for them to go to East Miami, which is Wynwood or any other cities that are open until 5 or 6 in the morning. So let's just keep them in, but keep them in an orderly fashion. What happened at City Place could happen anywhere.
Yes.
Okay? Safety, I mean, there's a lot of people out there, okay? And, there's some temperaments that we have to work on.
And the city responded, and I think, so there's a balance that occurred.
Yes, it
right?
did.
But it really said to all of us that the city is concerned and they care, and they want to make sure as best we can that we protect people and then also honor the rights of the business people and then also try to protect us as the general public.
Safety is another issue. Safety is, I mean, we don't have enough police officers. We have added police officers, but we need more police officers. What happened? The budget is already maxed out. So we have to look at additional benefits, okay, so that we can bring more police officers. With the development, going back, okay, all these buildings that are being built with the exception of Trump National Doral Towers, they're going into the SB 102 law, which is a state work here, live here, work to give workforce housing. Okay, 30% of the development, okay, the developer has to give to special, like say, teachers, police officers, first responders, and who's going to control that? Unless the city of Doral puts a task force to control this, we're going to have a huge Plan 8. Who's going to supervise that 30% is really going to
just for the people? That was a state. That was a plan by the state to allow higher density with. Still, it still is local control, right? Not as much as before.
But it overrides the zoning laws of a municipality.
Yes.
So our hands may be tied.
Yes.
So what happens? We need to control it after it gets approved. Okay. On 97th Avenue and 41st Street, the guy wanted 1,500 apartments. They negotiated. Okay, and we ended up with 800 apartments.
Wow.
Okay, so 800 apartments, we'll work it out. But out of those 800 apartments, 30% have to go to the workforce for our people to work, live, and play as we sell our city.
Yes.
What's happening? Who's going to supervise that? And like that, there's like 8 developments happening at the same time. So when I get there, we have to propose this task force to do that. Condominium associations. I mean, from left to right, they get robbed all the time. We need to also work with the Miami-Dade Police Department, all the police departments that have, and built a joint task force to really persecute and prosecute those people that are really taking advantage of the people in condominiums.
And the state only recently has taken a higher degree of interest because years ago, it would be like you'd call the state, they go, listen, we don't know how many people. You call the police, they say that's a civil matter.
Exactly.
And so lots of people ran in a lot of trouble. I see a couple more people just got, indicted for stealing the money because it was sort of like the fox, guarding the hen house.
There's one area in Miami, non-incorporated area, hammocks.
Yes.
It was put for loans for $30 million, and people didn't know about this. Now, this year, this election, we had the opportunity of electing a sheriff. When I spoke to the 16 candidates back then, I said, what are you going to do about the HOAs and homeowners association frauds? Because people go to the Miami-Dade department and the police departments to make the complaint, but nothing stays there. So what are we going to do about it? Why we have to act? And he says, and this is when I told him we need to build a task force. And the guy, one of the top ones that said, definitely, you're right. If we all get together, the cost will spread around, and then we can really take things to court. Okay, but now under the Miami-Dade Police Department, we have no budget for that.
Well, the people that are running the homeowners association, they should watch out because
they're hard for them.
And so I'm delighted that the state and county have taken a concern. So tell us about the percentage of population of Doral, more or less, as Venezuelan, and how does that impact you?
Well, Venezuelans is obviously, they call us Doralzuela because there's a lot of Venezuelans living in Doral. But the Venezuelans have a limbo of immigration. They don't vote as much as we want them to vote. They're still not the biggest force. Cubans are still the biggest voting force in Doral. Then Venezuelans, then Colombians, then the other rest of the thing. But Venezuelans do dominate whatever the city is. Now, they cannot vote, but they are the highest population. 56% probably is what they have. Venezuelans live there. So that's a lot of people paying for taxes that they cannot make any decisions because they cannot vote. So once they leave the limbo, which every year is more, because last year we had a voting population of 32,000, and this year was the last election, and this year is 36,000. So there's actually people moving into Doral, but Venezuelans are getting their local immigrations together. They're becoming, they have become residents. After 5 years, they become citizens, and they can start voting. Okay, they are at a point they're going to be the biggest force in voting because Venezuela doesn't seem to have a solution. Well, let's see what happens.
Welcome to South Florida.
Welcome to the melting pot.
So you worked at the Doral Economic Development Advisory Board. Tell us about that experience and how that is helping you get qualified to serve on the council.
Well, to tell you the truth, after the election on the 2022, I was asked to be in the Economic Advisory Board, which is basically why the city became a city to begin with, because we had a lot of businesses. And I have very much business experience. I studied business administration. But when I arrived there, we wanted to find out basically what does the city do for this new businesses or how to attract businesses. We lost one of the biggest employers, DHL Worldwide, moved to Miramar. Okay, so why? Because there are no incentives. So what kind of incentive can we give for big companies to come back, headquarters to be in Doral? The freight business has a lot of headquarters in Houston, in New York, in Atlanta that we can attract, okay, and bring more people in here. However, okay, to tell you the truth, I'm going to tell you an incident that happened to me. I proposed a business fair for the local businesses in Doral to know what benefits the city had for them. What kind of benefits in properties or for instance, state benefits, federal funds, whatever, grants. They did the fair without telling us. Okay, we found out as the board, we found out, through a post in the webpage. So I said, what happened here? So I got really frustrated. We got meetings every 2 months. Okay, I believe that one of the officers, one of the officials, a councilman or the mayor, has to get involved in this type of advisory boards. Okay, and they have to meet more frequently so that we really know, because these are residents that are running voluntarily these boards.
Yes.
Okay, so we have to pay attention to what they do because they bring the message to us as elected officials. So the experience was good. The idea is great, but there's a lot of people that that are probably too long in the job. And you get immune. If you take pills all the time, there will be a point that you don't need the pills anymore, or the pill doesn't do the work.
So let's talk about providing to your residents services that typically are handled by not-for-profits. What can the city do to get the citizens aware of what's available to them?
We have the best budget. The city of Doral has more money than any other city has because of our value in properties. Okay, the budget for the first time, okay, is between 120 and 140 million dollars. But we have too much expense. Our cost of government is very high. Okay, there's 490 people working for the city of Doral. We're a 14 square mile city. Sorry, that has to be reviewed. Okay, number two, in order for them, if you balance the budget or distribute the budget correctly, okay, then you will have funds enough to help those that are really needed and really become, give grants to businesses. If you're a business owner or a restaurant owner, okay, that, if you can give them a grant of $1,000 once in your lifetime, that's $1,000 this guy has to work less to do. Not to mention that now, one of the main problems we have, and we have had it for many years, is the fact that you see all these high rises going up so fast, 2 years, 3 years, the tower is ready. But then you have investors, restaurant investors, that are waiting 2 years paying rent to get their CO, their certificate of occupancy. There's a deficiency still in the zoning and occupational license that we have. How? My proposal is to really privatize it, because if you don't know how to do it, you got to get the people to know what to do, get it in there, and do it in a private business, in a private investor merge or partnership with the city.
So Miami-Dade County has a 311 number where you could call, get information, very helpful, and they'll send you the website, but to really be able to answer your questions. Does the city have some phone number if somebody is in need of something where they can call and get this general information where they don't have, so they're not going to be calling the mayor's office and going around and around, or commissioners?
It is my understanding that you have to call 311, okay, and then they distribute to whatever the jurisdiction of your complaint is. So there's that delay. I am a user of 311 because there was a traffic light that had 2 cars and then red, making a left. So I said, they just built downtown Doral, right in front of the Wells Fargo on 36th Street and 82nd Avenue. They just built there. A lot of more cars are going to go out of this. So I complained so many times that they put a traffic light on it.
See, one person can make a difference.
Oh, definitely. That's why the service is there. If you don't tell the elected officials what your deficiencies are or what problems do you have, there's no way. They don't have a magic wand. Let me tell you, I even got a call from the traffic from the Miami-Dade Traffic Light Authority, okay, saying that, listen, we have reviewed the case and I'm calling you to let you know we are going to put a traffic light. I freaked out. It works. It does work. But you have to work on it. You have to be patient and persistent like me.
Yes. We have 2 minutes left.
Okay.
So a couple things. Does the city offer any social programs if somebody needs to have some help with their children? Maybe they've got some real issues, or maybe Uncle Joey's having some emotional issues?
Well, health issues after COVID has become a very, very big flag for everybody. I have proposals. I have a very proposal, but I don't believe the city does have any funds assigned to this. They leave it to the 501c3s, the nonprofit organizations, which incidentally we have a lot of them in Miami. Some of them don't do anything. Some of them do a lot. We have to identify those identities that really do work.
So is there a place where somebody could call and say, listen, I need to have some agency that can help me? Does the city have a list? They say, hold on, I'm going to send you a list here's a list of not-for-profits. Pick the one that works for you.
Well, at the 2022 election, I was in a slate with Fraga, Piñeiro, and Porras. We offered, as a slate, to have a desk. It's called Doral 411, Doral information. I believe there is on the second floor, you can go and say information in Doral, and you can make a complaint and they will guide you through whatever. What I will propose is really a welcome center for everybody. A welcome center that will go, where to put your kids, where to get our tax. Doral is a huge city. Why don't we have a courthouse?
By the way, one of the best cities in South Florida, no question.
Yeah.
All right. And for the folks that haven't been around and watched it go from this little city to this magnificent one, I think every international company's got an office over there.
Oh, yeah.
From the smallest one to the largest one, really next to the airport. And there is no more inexpensive housing, but in totality, you compare it. There's inexpensive housing and there's very expensive housing. There's something for everybody there.
We have to have a courthouse in Doral. We have 82,000 residents, and there's a work center. So you're working let's say in a place in Doral, and you got a ticket or a court hearing to go to. You got to drive downtown and then go back to work.
We have 1 minute left.
Okay.
One of the things I'd like to wrap this up for, again, people can vote for you on December 10th. They can walk they have to go to their district voting.
The precincts are going to be open. Your normal precinct is going to be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. This is an important election, to tell you the truth. Please study my plan. I have a lot of plans. I have been active in the city. I have been in every
They can go on the website. We're playing there. We have your website address up there right now.
Okay. Well, you can see the plan in my website. You can find me in all social media, and you can even call me. My number is right on that website. I'm very accessible, the way it should be. Okay, the way it should be. It's very important that you go out and vote, because this depends. On this seat is what they call it the jewel of the crown. Okay. It will be the deciding vote for the next 3-4 years in the city of Doral.
Wonderful. We're going to see you on the other side, like on
Definitely.
December 11th, 12th. We'll see you soon there.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, and thanks for being here. And folks, again, thank you for joining us. Remember, vote for the candidate of your choice, and thanks for tuning in. Remember, take care of yourself and your family. Have a good day.
Thank you.